Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Flight Simulator 2020. Today, we are trying out a new aircraft for today, and it's the BAE or the British Aerospace 146 100 variant. It's a very unique aircraft. It has four engines, jet engines, and it's quite a small passenger aircraft, which is has some very interesting, unique features. So that's what we're going to be talking about later on. This is actually my first time to try out the BAE 146, so it should be interesting. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive inside the cockpit, see what's in there. Alright, so now we are inside the cockpit of the BAE 146. And as you can notice, this is a very complicated aircraft. It has a lot of systems involved. A lot of the uh, gauges here are analog and not digital, as the 146 is quite an old aircraft. It's one of those older aircraft with an old autopilot system and everything like that. So it's not an automated aircraft like the Airbus A320 and all that. But this variant is actually quite updated with some of the newer systems. As you can see on the left side, there is an EFB or an electronic flight bag, which will help you out in terms of information with regards to your flight and the aircraft systems. Here you can see the map in relation to your aircraft using the GPS. Here you can also see your flight details via SimBrief if you've ever if you're gonna be able to uh, link your SimBrief account, which I'm doing right now. Okay, so now that is our flight plan details. For today, we are flying from Manila International Airport towards Busuanga Airport, which is in Coron. It should be a relatively short flight, which should take us about 30 to 45 minutes airtime. All the calculations have already been done via SimBrief, so we're good with that. So let's just open the payload and import it. There we go. And according to the loadout sheet here, let me just check that. Yeah, let's check. We're gonna be bringing 4 tons, about 4,100 kilograms of fuel, which we currently have inside. Yeah, 4,093. There we go. We could just probably do 2,100 each, or 2,050, just for the oh, there. Oh, there. There we go. Just to have that a little bit of an extra fuel, just a tad bit. And as you can see, the aircraft is at a cold and dark state. So let's go ahead and power the aircraft. I'm just looking for my checklist with inside my phone right here. And there we go. I have the checklist right in front of me. So let's go ahead and power up the aircraft. So let's go ahead and go to the overhead panel and turn on the battery 1 and 2. And with that, we're going to be checking the voltages of both batteries by just uh, turning this knob right over here. Okay, battery 1 is at 28 volts, battery 2 is about the same, so we're good. After that, we're gonna go ahead and go towards the up here, yeah, towards the light and notices panel. We're gonna turn on the nav lights to high intensity, as you can see, since we already got electricity powering up the aircraft. No smoking signs will be set to auto. This is a rocker switch, so you can have 3 toggles right here. One is at the top, middle, and one at the bottom. So at the middle is auto. Cabin emergency to arm, which is at the middle option here. And we're done with the lights and notices. Next, we're gonna go over to the MISC, or the buttons right over to the far left. Yaw damp master switches must be on, 1 and 2. Autopilot master switch, as well as the avionics master A and B, must come on. Now for the anti-skid, we're switching that over to on, together with lift spoilers, yellow and green. Alright, we're done with this part of the panel. Let's move towards the lower overhead panel. At the second column here, bus tie AC and DC must be set to auto, which is the upwards position right here. Standby inverter and standby generator to arm, which is the top option here. APU gen must be on there. And to prepare for the starting up of the APUs, we're gonna turn on the left inner fuel pump, which is right over here. With that, we are ready to start up the APU by clicking on the APU master switch here and select start, and we should see the RPM rising as well as the TGT. It should show APU power available, and once we are done with that, we're going to continue on with the checklist. Alright, so if you look outside the aircraft, the APU is now powering up and spooling. There we go. Alright. APU power is now available, so let's continue with our checklist. At the lower part of the overhead panel, flight deck emergency lights to arm, which is the middle switch or middle option right here. Alright, and by this time we will be turning the yaw dampers to on, which is at the center pedestal right over here. Just click on this. There we go. Yaw damper 1 and 2. Okay. Now we're also going to be opening the oxygen for the pilot and the co-pilot, which is right here. This one right here. Okay, so let's switch the oxygen on, or at least it must be ready for us to be able to use it. Now let's go ahead and go back to the overhead panel. The center tank must be set to auto, which is at the top option right here. In preparation for the startup for the engines, we're gonna select the ice detection to on. Okay. Now we're gonna look at the flip book right here and select our speeds. There. I just selected flaps 30 for takeoff, so that would be our reference speeds. Flight directors are to be turned on via these switches right here. Flight director 1 and 2. Nav 1 must be on, and communication radios must be on as well. There we go. And by this time we're gonna be setting up the FMC, which is right here. Flight plan. Now the origin airport is Manila, so that's RPLL. Destination airport is Coron in Busuanga. Well, it's not in the database, which is kind of a bummer, but no worries, we're going to be able to check up on that. We should just be able to use a few references here. Okay. We might just need to use VOR. Yeah, there is a VOR nearby, so we're gonna use San Jose Airport as our reference. Okay. So from San Jose, we're gonna go westward towards this part of the island. I'm guessing it would be radio 250 from San Jose, or 245. So yeah, we might need to update our flight plan right here. So yeah, from Telen, I'm gonna go direct to San Jose. From San Jose, go direct to Coron, which is about radial 245. From there, it would be a visual approach to Coron Island, which should be quite a challenge for us, since this aircraft is going to be hard to manage, but yeah. So I guess we might just need to do a little bit of editing to our flight plan here. Execute. There we go. Let's go to the legs page from RPLL, going over to Bukal. There. Alright. Next page. From Bukal, going to All Racks via Mike 646. There we go. From All Racks, we're gonna go towards Telen, and direct to San Jose VOR. Okay, execute. Now let's look at our departure at Manila, which is Bukal for Victor. There we go. Runway 13 is here, so we're gonna go straight out. We're at runway heading 136 to clear to Bilid to so yeah, we might need to make sure we are connected to the Manila VOR. So the Manila VOR is 114.4. Alright. Okay. Alright, let's just continue on with the procedure. Now, fasten seatbelt signs must be turned on. And since we have APUs available, we're going to turn on the APU air to on with packs turned on as well for the passengers. Alright. And we're also going to be checking the hydraulic pumps right here just to see if everything is working. So we're going to turn on the DC pump to on. See if we're going to see some rising with the pressures on the yellow and the green line. It's going to be the same for the AC pump and PTU. Alright, everything checks out, so we're going to turn it off again. There we go. Okay, we should be ready with engine start. At this point, we're gonna plan our pushback. Alright, that's done. Let's request pushback. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to be using VATSIM for today since this is my first time to use this aircraft. So, if things go wrong while I'm doing this flight, we're not going to be much of trouble to other people on the server. So, I might fly on VATSIM when I am already used to using the 146. So right now we're gonna look at outside, see if the tug is already connected. There we go. So With that, let's turn off the APU air and the packs to off. And we're going to be selecting engine number 4, engine start master to on, and we're going to power the aircraft by pushing the ignition start switch right here. Now we're going to look out for 10% N2 on engine number 4. And now we are going to turn on the throttle, the fuel throttle switch to on. Now we're just going to wait for it to stabilize, and once that is stable, we're going to switch over to engine number 3. Okay, that's done. We're gonna switch it to engine number 3. Alright, everything has been started up. Let's turn off the start select switch. We're going to turn off the start master switch. And since we already got engines here, let's turn on the packs. Gen 1 and Gen 4 to on. Engine air 1, 2, 3, and 4 to on. Brake fans to auto. Engine 2 and engine 3 hydraulic pumps to on. Alright, for the ice protection, all heaters must be turned on. And we are ready for taxi. So for taxi, we're just gonna check the lights as well. So we're gonna turn on the taxi lights like so. Use the logo lights and the wing lights. I guess we just need the wing lights, not the logo lights, because it's still daytime. Okay. Now with that, we're also gonna set our flaps for takeoff. I might use flaps 30 for this takeoff, so 24 and 30. flaps 30 has been set. Let's turn on the TMS. Test the TMS as well. See if it is working. We're gonna set the speed bugs by clicking on the flip. There we go. And we're gonna select TO for takeoff. It's gonna set 90.7 N2 for 90.7% N2 or N1. Alright. Let's see if we are already configured for flight by clicking on the config check. Oh, I guess that's the parking brake. Yep. Everything looks good. We are ready to go. So let's just for reference, I'm gonna set the heading bug to 136. Like so. Just for our reference. And for nav 2, we are also gonna set check the departure. Yeah, I think we will not be needing the VOR. We're gonna use LNAV for this. So we're gonna use radio navigation, and we're just gonna tune in to San Jose. Let's see if they've got the VOR set here. There we go, 117.1. Let's take note of that. There we go. So that's 117.1. I guess we are now ready to go, so let's taxi towards the runway. So let's assume we already got clearance to taxi, so add a little bit of power. TCAS set to TARA. Set. Alright, and we are gonna hold short at this point. See if we are cleared to get inside the runway. Okay, everything looks good. Let's turn on the strobe lights and the landing lights. So a little bit of a briefing with regards to the TMS, or the thrust modulation system, which is this system right here. It's well, as you can see, this aircraft is not fitted with an auto throttle. So what it has is a TMS, or a thrust modulation system. So what it does it guides you on how much throttle you're going to be using for a certain setting. For example, in this case, we're going to be taking off, and I have already set TO on the TMS. And it's gonna use 90.7% of our throttle. And as you can see, engine 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all requiring a little bit more push on the throttles. And once it is within range, it's gonna adjust the throttles on its own, and it's gonna use 90.7. And once we are airborne and climbing, we're gonna use MCT, which what it's gonna do is it's gonna reduce the powers to 85.7. So it's not gonna it's not gonna damage the engines that much, yeah. And as to save the life expectancy, or the lifetime of your engine blades and all that part. And once we are on cruise, we could use TGT or sync for takeoff. Alright. For descending, we're gonna use this option right here, descent. Okay. So it's a little bit of a very confusing setup, but no worries, we're gonna be able to use that anyways. But yeah, for now we have already set it to take off, and what we just need to do is to push the throttles forward until all the lights get extinguished on the TMS.
TMS set to take off.
Still not within range. There we go.
Power set, flex achieved.
Okay, so as you can see, it's gonna be using 90.7 on all of the engines, which is what we're looking at. So now let's start the takeoff properly. Okay. Alright, so now doing 50% in one, everything is stable, pushing the throttles.
Speed alive, both sides. 80 knots cross checked.
80 knots.
V1.
V1.
Rotate.
Rotate.
V2.
Check. Positive rate.
Positive rate of climb, gear up.
Maintaining 10 degrees of pitch. Alright. Maintaining runway heading.
V2 plus 10.
Using
Safe high
LNAV.
speed. Select flap 18.
Flaps 18. Let's turn right. Maintaining 10 degrees of pitch up. And turning on the autopilot.
VFTO. Safe high speed. Select flaps up.
Flaps up. Okay, alright. We are now airborne. So let's do a little bit of checklist. Alright, APU gen is turning off. APU off as well. Decreasing throttles via TMS, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to reduce the airspeed by increasing the pitch, reducing the speed to 250 knots, at 250 we're going to switch it back to the autopilot to control and maintain that airspeed. Ten thousand feet, landing lights off, seatbelt signs off. Alright. Reaching transition altitude 11,000. Set standard pressure. Oh, I forgot to set the cruising altitude right here, but it's a good thing that we did not arm the altitudes. So we're gonna do that right now. Cruising altitude is flight level 220. And let's arm that. Now the aircraft should level off at 22,000 feet. Once we level off, we're gonna use sync or TGT, and we're gonna set TGT temperature of 720. Well, let's see. Let me go ahead and check up on the charts for that. I might use 700 degrees, like so. Alright. Everything looks good, and we are well on our way to our destination. Okay. Alright, we're gonna set course 245 from San Jose. We are still climbing. Currently at 346 knots ground speed. Okay. Aircraft is leveling off. Setting TGT, decreasing the throttle. Lights have been extinguished. Okay, alright, let's look outside here. See what we're. Yeah. The cabin has been detailed nicely, which I really like that. Nice view. Ooh, we can close it. Nice. Alright, so we should be starting our turn right here. I might also start the descent towards probably around 8,000 feet. So we are gonna select 8,000 feet and select descent on the TMS. Sync mode, push, 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 push. Up, just a little bit. Arm the altitude. I think we need to descend a little bit faster here. So turn on the sync mode. Head towards 2,000 feet per minute descent. There we go. Maintain that. And I believe we are at Telet. We just turned left towards San Jose VOR. There we go. Oh. Yep. Let's maintain the heading. I believe that is San Jose right here. Is it? Oh, I guess that's Telen. Because we were from Olrax and then we turned left towards Telen. From Telen, we're gonna go straight ahead to San Jose. From San Jose, we're gonna turn right, and that would be it towards Busuanga. And we just passed transition altitude, so we're gonna set standard barometric pressure to 1008, which is the current barometric pressure at Manila. We're gonna use the same thing for Busuanga. And 10,000 feet, landing lights on, seatbelt signs on.
Seatbelt signs is switched off. Please return to the seat and fasten seatbelt.
Setting TGT to 680 degrees for the TMS. With that, we're gonna cruise a little bit at 8,000 feet. That should give us a speed of below 250 knots because we are below 10,000 feet. Here's San Jose. From San Jose, we're gonna turn right. I'm not quite sure why the VOR was not working when I switched this over to nav. Oh, now it's working. Okay, all right. So we should be able to just use VOR from this point, but I guess we can also use our nav since it's already set with our. Oh, I guess not, because we cannot use our nav because there is no waypoint after San Jose, so we should be relying on VOR. So with that, I'm gonna use nav. Right, and from there, I'm gonna arm VOR lock, and that should move towards our target, which is Coron. I guess we should start intercepting the turn with this heading 180, like so. And lock. That's San Jose Airport right there. We're about to intercept the VOR. Alright, there we go. We are now intercepting radial 245 of the San Jose VOR. The autopilot should be able to correct itself. Still maintaining 8,000 feet. So Coron Island is just to our 12 o'clock. It should be right in front of us. But there we should look out for the airport and see where it is. And visually we're gonna approach it, which should make up a challenge for us since this aircraft is not easy to fly with. Oh, and yeah, if I missed something from the checklist and if anybody knows the procedures with this aircraft, just let me know what I missed uh, in the comment section below. Just let me know. Alright, thank you. And right now I'm having a little bit of trouble finding the airport because the airport is not in the database for this FMC. So I'm just using VOR navigation towards the island, and I'm gonna have to find it manually, which is fine. It's nothing new, and we also got some map right here, so we should be able to see it. But I'm not sure why this map is black somehow. Oh, there we go. I might have to change it towards radial 250. I just feel like it is radial 250 and not 245. Brief. Radial 258. Oh. Well. Alright, so we're already out of range of the radio. So we need to manually turn to heading 258. Yeah, because we're already out of range of the San Jose VOR. And with this, we should start our descent towards 4,000 feet, I guess. Yep. 4,000 feet. Set descent on the TMS. Sync mode. Start the descent. About 1,000 feet per minute. I believe we just passed the airport, so we're gonna have to turn right. Is that the airport? My god, it is. So we're just gonna head towards heading 060 for a little bit. And we're gonna fly manually towards the runway. Let's descend towards 2,000 feet. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to fly.
Speed checked below 205. Select flaps 18.
Flaps 18.
Autopilot disconnected.
Flying manually. Switching off the TMS.
2500.
Speed check below 205. Select gear down.
Gear down.
Speed checked below 180. Select flaps 24.
Flaps 24.
Speed checked below
Coron
170.
ahead.
Select flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Speed check below 145. Select flap 33.
Flaps 33.
1,000.
Still a little bit too high.
Pull up. Pull up.
Very
Pull
steep
up.
approach.
Pull
We'll
up.
manage.
Pull up. Pull.
There we go.
Fifty, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ground idle.
A little bit of a rough landing.
Yellow and green spoilers. Brake pressure seen. 80 knots. 60 knots.
Oh, dude. Well, that happens. Unfortunately, we overshot the runway, but yeah, it was very challenging, and there was no auto brake and all that, and it's quite hard with the joystick that I'm using right now. But we were able to land. We are in Coron Airport right now. Wow, that was really rough. But yeah, I might have to practice a little bit using this aircraft. It's my first time to use, so yeah, I might have to practice using this aircraft more. But this aircraft was really fun to use. It's got a lot of systems that is really unique, and it's not that automated, really, really interesting aircraft to use. So with that, if you have any other suggestions, any aircraft that you wanted me to use, any destination and whatnot, just let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, thanks for watching.